The Brooklyn Nets take the commanding 3-1 lead over the Boston Celtics in this first-round series, and teams that do so, by the way, go on to win the series 95% of the time. We've got your post-game coverage on Playoff Central Live with coach and player press conferences from both the Nets and the Celtics. Welcome back into our NBA TV studios. I'm Kristen Ledlow, alongside our Ryan Hollins, our Steve Smith as well. Smitty, we're going to be waiting for these guys to get to the podium. I want you to break down what you saw from the Big Three as we take a look at some of these numbers, which are simply stunning. Kevin Durant led the way with 42 points, but Kyrie Irving added 39 with 11 rebounds as well. James Harden with 23 and 18 assists. I mean, what is it that you saw from those guys tonight?
You know, Kristen, what I saw was when all three guys are on the same level, clicking offensively. You know, we all know defense wins championships, but how can you stop these guys? Let's start off with Kyrie. There's three guys, but his handle gets him wherever he wants to go. He heard the boos at the TD Garden, and he accepted the challenge. But this is, for me, Ryan and Kristen, him on the defensive end, making a play, getting out, making a play for others. That's what we know he started to become special, because one-on-one, he's the best I've seen, is being able to create his own shot at that guard position. And then James Harden. We'll talk about numbers, but for me to accept basically the point guard role, and we're going to watch him right now break down people. And yes, we know if he gets to the free throw line, he's going to knock it down, Ryan. But those 18 assists impressed me.
Absolutely. And this is tough because you can't put your best defender on him. There's too many other scorers here. Blow by Harden Island. Watch him get to the rim right here. Rockabye, baby. Sorry, Fournier did not have a shot right there. And this is a problem, man. You know how dynamic these three are. Now you got KD getting to the rim. There's no nail help. You know, normally when KD has the ball, you can help. And then this is a play we commonly saw for OKC and with the Warriors. Simple post-up situation there with KD. This is good defense. Smitty, this is good defense right here. KD has a 7'6" wingspan, so arguably the three most dynamic scorers we have ever seen on a basketball team we're seeing here with the Brooklyn Nets.
Smitty, I want to clarify a comment. Kyrie Irving, the best one-on-one player that you've ever seen?
Yeah, I think, yes. I mean, as far as handling the basketball, yes, Kristen. Being able to break down a guy. I have not seen handles like this, and I've seen some of the best. And I've worked with one of the best. Yeah. Taught me the best is Isaiah Thomas, our Isaiah Thomas. But even Isaiah Thomas will start to tell you his handles in one-on-one play. Now, if you want to say unstoppable, there's nothing you do. Ryan said it, because Jabari Parker on that play, that's where Durant separates himself. That was good defense, but when a 7-footer raises up, what can you do? So when I say one-on-one players, Kyrie, degree of difficulty, because Durant is basically unstoppable at 7 feet, being able to handle the basketball and shoot it.
Well, I ask you to clarify because downstairs, Shaq walked off the set because moments ago, Charles said that James Harden was the best one-on-one player he had ever seen. I mean, so arguably two of the best one-on-one players that the game has ever seen, and they're playing on the same team.
Three.
Oh, without a doubt.
Hey, you're right. I mean, listen, we'll say these three combined are the best one-on-one players we can ever see. With all due respect to Michael Jordan, okay, and Kobe Bryant. But, you know, what's so tough is I play with Kyrie. I always said he's arguably the most talented, and I played with Hall of Famers, the most talented player I've ever played with. He can shoot the ball like Ray Allen if needed. If he had to be just a catch-and-shoot guy, he can do it. He has the best handle I've ever seen of anyone I played with. No disrespect to any other ball handler out there. And he can play, make, and pass. He can do anything on the floor. You just question at times motivation, consistency, if we got a nitpick. And James Harden, we see what he's done. But now James Harden's in a role, Smitty, where he can facilitate 18 assists tonight. Everybody said he's the one-on-one isolation guy. 18 assists. Are you kidding me?
And I'm with Ryan. I mean, for James Harden to basically come in and accept that role, I think it said, whew, as a coaching staff with Steve Nash, because without somebody accepting that facilitator role, he would have had a tough go at it as a coach. But I think when James Harden came in and said, I'm the point guard, Durant was like, I'm going to always be a scorer. It took the pressure off Kyrie Irving. I can just be a two guard in a point guard's body and go out there and score. So for me, the sacrifice of James Harden, really not a big-time sacrifice. We're just not seeing the 50, the 60, but we're seeing wins, and a possible chance for this guy to get his first ring because of he accepting his roles, which is still 25 and 18 or something like that.
Yeah, which is still a pretty impressive role. Ryan, I want to ask you, not who of these guys is the most valuable, not who of these guys is the best one-on-one player, But who of these guys do you see as the most important to potentially contending for a championship this season?
They can't play this. They can't do this without James Harden. You know, James Harden has the ability to facilitate, score, and I always say he's a counterpuncher. You know, he takes whatever the defense gives him. If you get up into him, he flops. If you get physical, he gets to the foul line. But he can get anywhere he wants on the floor, and he's the most equipped to make those guys feel comfortable. Kevin Durant's excellent, but I don't want Kevin Durant bringing the ball up floor, especially not after an injury. And sometimes Kyrie just may not be feeling it. It may not be his night. But the one thing that James Harden has done is consistently he will make the right play. And guys, Kristen, I don't think that he got enough credit in Houston for making the correct play. Everyone saw the one-on-one. That was their system. I don't want to say there was no one else to help, but the system was created for him to take those shots. So James Harden, by far, the most important. Maybe not the best player, but the most important.
Smitty, same question. Do you see it the same way?
I totally agree with Ryan. I'm going to just add this. You know, after James Harden, the most important, next to me is Coach Nash. Because when it comes down to Steve Nash, everybody says the chemistry of these three guys. Let's talk about a first-year head coach. And when it gets down to when they're having these tough games, how do we respond when there's three Hall of Famers, some of the best ever, all have a different idea? I think it's Steve Nash after James Harden is most important.
Now, this team is quite obviously not looking beyond the Celtics, but the three of us can sit here and look beyond the Celtics if needed. This is a team that's looking to contend for a championship. So we can talk about their offensive numbers all day and night. But defensively, which of the teams in the Eastern Conference do you think could give this team the most problems?
The Milwaukee Bucks.
Really?
You know, the one thing about Milwaukee, we talk about how prolific they are offensively. Now, Milwaukee said, you know, we're going to take the defensive route. We're going to trade and go out and get P.J. Tucker. We're going to make a move and also go out and get Drew Holiday. So those defenders can technically match up with that big three. And if we're going to say that there's one weakness that they couldn't address in the buyout market of trying to get a Drummond or, a JaVale McGee, they don't have anything at the rim. And Giannis Antetokounmpo has accepted this role, Smitty, of a roller and a diver. So the Milwaukee Bucks are a team that's athletic enough, they can defend. I know the scoring's not there, but I'd be nervous about playing Milwaukee if I'm the Nets.
Ryan said it best. At the rim is the Milwaukee Bucks, and it's Joel Embiid. If he wants to go out there and play big boy basketball, I am with Ryan Hollins. Those are the two teams for me. I would even say more of the Philadelphia 76ers if he wants to commit Joel Embiid to every trip down, punishing the bigs and the Brooklyn Nets.
Well, again, we'll continue to look ahead in the Eastern Conference playoffs, but the Boston Celtics are not done yet, and Brad Stevens is addressing the media now.
Hi, Brad. Just obviously a tough night. What was the difficulties? Was it just too much of the trio in this one?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the biggest thing, Dan, we obviously started the game great. Our energy was great. Offensively, we scored pretty consistently, all night. But when they went and got going individually, I thought it's almost like we overreacted and started over-scrambling, over-blitzing, trying to trap, and it just opened up easier opportunities, and then everybody's rolling. I thought we did a good job in a couple of these other games of limiting the feel-good rhythm of an offense. Today, after they made those tough shots, I thought we overreacted, and rightfully so. I mean, I think obviously it's hard to watch those guys go isolation, and it's hard to play them one-on-one. But they do a really good job when you run and jump them, when you trap them. They get rid of it quick. They got good players in the middle of the floor and then great shooting around it. So we just have to be a little bit more solid. But, we got hit by a good punch, and we need to be ready to deliver one on Tuesday.
Ethan?
Brad, how important is it, even though the game didn't go the way you wanted, but for Romeo and Aaron and Peyton to get this kind of experience for you guys in these moments?
I mean, big games, playoff games, against good teams. I mean, in great environments. Yeah, I mean, those are invaluable experiences. I thought we showed our age some, but I also thought those guys did a lot of good things. And so we'll look at it and figure out how we can all be a little bit better. But, it's kind of like we said, when some of our other guys were younger, we don't have time to wait to be older. We've got to, grow up by Tuesday and be better.
Adam Himmelsbach.
Brad, you obviously seen it plenty, but what did you see from Kyrie beyond shots going in that was different tonight than it was on Friday when you guys were able to slow him down a lot more?
Yeah, he had a great burst tonight. You could see it. He had a great pop to his game, a great pop in his step. I thought that we did a poor job at times of being up in his airspace, but that's easier said than done because you're worried about the drive and you're worried about fouling him. But he was great. And, he's had a couple of good games here out of the first four. And, but I thought all those guys, Durant, anytime it got even uncomfortable, those guys made big shots.
Jerry Weiss.
Brad, you talk all the time about when you have to just tip your cap as a defense when the other team makes a great play, but on a night like this where you're tipping your cap constantly because they're hitting so many contested shots, how do you balance knowing that you think that's the right strategy in that moment and having to make an adjustment just because it's not working no matter what you do?
Well, we made a lot of adjustments, and the adjustments were worse. Because what that did was that separated the game. And so when you talk about playoff basketball, obviously you want to adjust appropriately, but doing it a little bit better or staying the course when you're navigating a game or at least within arm's reach is sometimes the right move. And I thought, again, we got too scrambled. We scrambled too much after some of those difficult shots early. So, again, we'll look at it. We'll figure out where we can better trap and where we can be better sprinkle those things in. But at the same time, every defense in the league wants to stay in its shell as much as you can. And, I thought, again, when we've played our best basketball in the series, that's what we've done.
Harry Washburn.
Hey, Brad. They punched you to begin the third quarter. It would have been by as many as 27. But you guys kept fighting. It seemed like the crowd was definitely into it, regardless of the score. Can you take something away from the fact that they didn't really knock you out? They didn't really, you didn't relent. Maybe in past times this year, you guys would have gotten discouraged. It just seemed like you guys just played through the game and were honest to the game.
Yeah, no, I don't have any issues at all with our approach, our effort. Again, we got a little haphazard defensively, Gary, and that's the part that we can control, that we need to clean up and do better. And again, there are some individual tendencies that we need to do a better job of and all that stuff. But the effort was good all the way through. And we've come back on several occasions this year and made it even more uncomfortable than we did there at the end. I wish we could have had a better opportunity at the end because it was so great to have our fans back in the building. I can't tell you, just being in the bubble, starting this year, going through the year, sometimes you're playing in front of 1,000 people, sometimes nobody. But it's just this place is special. And the idea of being a part of a community and a community watching a basketball game together, and especially here, I wish we could have had a better shot at the end because I think that this place obviously wanted to blow the lid off.
Wrap it right there. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
The Nets lead the Celtics now 3-1. Here's Coach Steve Nash.
Close to 30 assists. Did you kind of get the best of both worlds offensively?
Yeah, I liked it a lot better. We ran more actions. We were still, I think, terrific in isolation, but we ran more actions, got more people involved, had a lot more assists, a lot more balance. And clearly we had a great shooting night as well.
Alex Schiffer, The Athletic.
Hey, Steve, I got two for you. Just what can you say about Kyrie's game? It seemed like on Friday he was a bit passive early on, and it seemed like tonight he was trying to set a tone early and being pretty aggressive at getting to the basket.
Yeah, I mean, it's Kyrie Irving. He didn't have a great game last time out. My money's on him anytime after a performance like he had where he couldn't quite get into the game in game 3. And so I had a good feeling about him tonight, and he was outstanding. So I just loved his will to take some of this adversity and have a great game. He was terrific.
And then Nick, it seemed like he gave you guys some good minutes in the first half. You talked about him on having an up and down game on Friday, you talked this morning about having to be a quick learner. It seemed like he gave you guys some good contributions after Friday.
Yeah, I mean, Nick had 4 blocks in 8 minutes. It was a plus 14. So, it was much better. I thought he was really active and disruptive. And he was really positive for us tonight. So hopefully it's something we can build on.
Christian Winfield, New York Daily News.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on the win. 18.
Kevin Durant is sitting down to address the media now as the Nets take the 3-1 lead.
Hey, Kevin, just a historic offensive performance tonight. Just did you guys feel in a rhythm right from the start, and what made the difference for you guys?
Yeah, I think we were locked in on the defensive side of the ball the whole game, which kept us engaged in the offensive end. We didn't force anything. We played within the offense, and James was incredible at controlling the ball. Kyrie scored efficiently. I got some efficient shots. I think down the line, we just played a nice, efficient game.
Michael Grady, Yes Network.
Kev, I mean, it's unfortunate that this season even has to be asked, but someone tried to toss a water bottle at Kyrie, or did toss a water bottle at Kyrie as you guys were walking off the floor. Just your thoughts on just, again, an unfortunate act, and the fan was arrested, but just what can be done about, again, protecting players in situations like this? I
mean, fans got to grow up at some point. I know that being in the house for a year and a half with the pandemic, got a lot of people on edge, got a lot of people stressed out. But when you come to these games, you got to realize, man, these men are human. We not animals. We not in a circus. You coming to the game is not all about you as a fan. So have some respect for the game. Have some respect for these human beings, and have some respect for yourself. Your mother wouldn't be proud of you throwing water bottles at basketball players, or spitting on players, or tossing popcorn. So grow the fuck up and enjoy the game. It's bigger than you.
Greg Logan, Newsday.
Kevin, along those same lines, how do you feel for Kyrie and the kind of performance he had today, and what does it say about his mental toughness, to handle this kind of abuse that he got?
Kyrie has been through some tough times in his life that's off the basketball court. So him coming in here, this is sanctuary. No matter what's being said from the stands, he knows that, everybody in between those lines respect him, respect who he is as a person and as a player, and his teammates got his back. So he didn't worry about, handling this crowd. I mean, everybody throws insults at every player in this league. You know what I'm saying? So he came out here and wanted to just play better than he did last game, and we did as a unit. Wanted to play better than we did last game, and we came out here and executed.
Christian Winfield, New York Daily News.
Hey, Kevin, just speaking about what you guys did last game versus this game, what would you say is the biggest adjustment? Was there a mindset adjustment from game 3 to game 4 for this one?
Yeah, Evan Fournier, 5 for 15. Marcus Smart, 4 for 12, 2 for 9 from the 3. We try to take those guys out. We know once they get it going, their team can change and become high powered. So, Tatum, he gonna get his looks, he gonna get his touches, but the other guys, I think we did a solid job on.
Brian Lewis, New York Post.
I'm curious, Kevin. I mean, did you have a vantage point? I mean, obviously, we could see some of the guys saw the water bottle after it came in. Tyler obviously saw it. Did you see it? And you didn't see it? What was the message from you guys, I guess, to Kyrie then at that point?
We didn't even talk about it. We know how these people here are in Boston, and we know how passionate they are about Kyrie in particular. and they still upset at him. And that's no reason for them to act childish, but we don't need to speak on that. We know what it is already coming in here. Glad we got the W. Hopefully we don't got to come back here this year.
Alex Schiffer, The Athletic.
Kevin, you guys had that stretch in the second quarter where you made your first 7 shots and built the lead up, and I think that was with you and Kyrie on the benches. What can you make of the second unit play in the early second quarter and that stretch you guys had there?
Well, they did their job. They're supposed to come in and change the tempo if we're down or if we're tied up, try to push the lead. And guys came in and played extremely well on both ends of the floor. James was the catalyst for getting guys open looks and getting to the rim himself. And, you know, once me and Kyrie came back into the game, we just tried to fit in as much as possible. And, you know, that second unit along with Joe, James, Landry, Nick Claxton, BB, they did a great job of just setting the tone for the rest of the game.
Malika Andrews, ESPN.
Kevin, at the end of the fourth quarter, it looked like you and Kyrie were already sort of poring over the stat sheet. What was jumping out to you then? What were you looking for?
Their field goal percentage, how many more shots they got up than us, and their offensive rebounds. I think we pretty much controlled a lot of that. They shot 38 to 36 to 40% majority of the game from the field, and they only had 12 offensive rebounds. You know, so. We look at that stuff, especially playing against this team, and we did our job, you know, when it comes to that.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
Smitty, for good reason, KD had some pretty strong words for the fan that threw a water bottle at Kyrie.
I totally agree, Kristen. I mean, when you look at what's going on right now with a lot of these fans, it's just uncalled for. I mean, not only is childish, but it could be dangerous. You're throwing an object at a human being. I just think if everybody, you were at your job and somebody could come throw popcorn on you, could come spit on you, or throw a water bottle at you. This is a game. Come enjoy the game. Obviously root for your team, but there's no place for objects to be thrown at players. And it just appalled me, whether it's popcorn, a water bottle, Ryan, but it took me over the edge for somebody to spit on somebody else. That's the lowest of the lowest, and that's a disgrace.
You know, Smitty, things like this have always happened, but as players, we've always been told to be the bigger man, be the bigger person. Don't react, you know. But I'm glad that with social media, these things are now having attention drawn to them. So at a certain point, enough is enough. And the biggest thing I took from what KD said, we aren't animals at the zoo. We are people too. So honor each and every man or woman with the same type of respect and dignity that you'd like to act. And there's a mentality that I got from certain places that I played. Some people buy a ticket to the game and they have a mindset like they bought a player. You didn't buy a player, you bought a ticket to watch a basketball game. So whether you like the fan or not, there are levels to the way you cheer and you honor yourself. And as KD said, even more so, you honor yourself and your family.
Several instances like these led the league to releasing a statement just earlier this week enforcing a more strict code of conduct. Do you think that there's anything else that the league needs to be doing or any other parameters the league needs to have in place?
I think to continue to make examples of these people who do so and to let them know, hey, this is how we can have a lifetime ban. You know, you can't just have your buddy or friend or cousin buy you a ticket. You will not be allowed in an NBA arena. And I thought it was even bigger that the opposing teams where it happened, Philadelphia issued a statement. The New York Knicks issued a statement. So, yes, we want you to cheer for us. You're with us. This is playoff basketball. We're emotion. But, you know, I think just letting everybody know that this is not going to be tolerated.
Ryan and Christian, I take it even a step further. You're banned from all NBA games in all 30 franchises. That's where I think we need to go. And if it continues, now you're banned from NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, MLS, whatever it may be, because then I think that's the reason where these fans will get a chance to, they can hurt as well when you have things like this going on.
And Smitty, you know it. We love having the up-close interactions with fans, even a little trash talk. You think more famously Spike Lee, Clipper Darrell with the Clippers. You, as a player, you enjoy it and you live for it. But when it goes over the line, enough is enough.
Without a doubt. And there were legal repercussions as this fan was arrested because this is, as you mentioned, not something you can do at anyone else's job. And that is what's happening here.
Absolutely. And it's silly too, and it's very childish. These guys are professional athletes. If you walk by a guy that was 6'8", 240 on the street, you wouldn't be spitting at him. You wouldn't be jeering at him. You felt for some reason.
I don't have to be that big. You wouldn't spit at Trae Young if he walked up to you on the street, and he's not close to as big as that.
Not in any level. So I think it's silly to do, and I think these fans being caught on video is important to see. And like you said, I love what you said, Smitty. NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, we all come to combine and say, man, you can't go to any event.
Yeah, I totally agree. And like you said, Christian, I don't care if you're 7'5", 5'5", you do not spit on someone else. And it's just unbelievable that somebody can stoop to that level. It's a disgrace. Ryan said it best. I think the best thing that KD said and Ryan echoed, we're human beings. And that's the one thing that like everybody else, you shouldn't treat another human being that way.
You are right. Well, we're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back with coach and player press conferences between the Nets and the Celtics, and we hope to hear from Kyrie Irving.
Hey, Marcus, your thoughts on having the fans back? It seemed like that was a big factor early. And also what Jason's done over the last couple of games, a 40-point performance tonight after following up that 50-point night.
It was great, having the fans there. It was refreshing. We missed them. I know they missed us. I know they missed being there. So, it was electrifying in the building, exactly how we expected it to be. And we love it. And, Jason, what more can you say? Dude is great. He's proven it night in and night out. And he's proven it beyond measures than what we expected. We expect him to be great, but he's surpassing and going even higher. So, you tip your hat off to that man. Young fella doing his thing.
And Bontemps. Hey, Marcus, I'm not sure if you're aware, but after the game, when he was walking up the court, Kyrie had a fit water bottle thrown at him by a fan. And you obviously spoke pretty eloquently the other day about the other incidents that have happened this week. I don't know if you were aware of that, but I was just curious what your thoughts were on something like that happening after, a game like this today.
Yeah, I heard it. I heard about it. From my understanding, the culprit was definitely taken care of very quickly. So, we're glad that got taken care of. And unfortunately, one bad seed, doesn't mean that the whole fruit is poison. So, our fans have been great. We just had a knucklehead decide to do something knuckleheadish, and he's got taken care of. So, and we're happy for that.
Ryan Dunleavy.
Hey, Marcus, can you hear me?
Yes, I got you.
Thank you. Just the start of the second quarter, you guys were up 1, and Durant and Kyrie were on the bench. It seemed like the kind of moment for you guys to extend your lead, and actually the Nets' second unit went up by 9. What happened there as they made their first 7 shots?
Exactly that. They made their first 7 shots. And, you're playing a good team like this, and you're giving those guys, the other guys that's not KD, James or Kyrie, you're giving them that energy and that confidence to knock down those shots. It's going to be tough, especially when those guys come back in. We're playing against a great team. They got 3 great players, and they got a great surrounding cast around them. So, it's tough, but we just got to continue to fight. And I'm proud of the way we fought tonight. We didn't come out to win. It didn't come out that way, but got another game, another chance to go out there and fight even harder.
Gary Washburn.
Hey, Marcus just touched on it. You guys' desire and your fight. Can you take something away from that in this game that they didn't blow you out? They got up by 27, but you guys kept coming back. The crowd was into it. Even when you cut the lead to 20, they were going crazy. Can you take something away from the fact that you played through the game and you're honest to the game? You didn't give up. You didn't, get discouraged, even though those guys had a lot of tough shots.
Exactly, it's that. You can't feel discouraged. We fought to the end. Like I said, we're playing against a great team. We got 3 great players that, they make tough shots. So, you tip your hat off and you continue to play. And you just make every shot that they continue to take as hard as you can, and if they make it, you tip their hat off to them.
23 points and 18 assists for James Harden in the win. Here he is.
All the conversation, practice heading into this one. What's most satisfying in the way that you guys got it done tonight?
Defensively, that's going to be our key. Every single game. Like offensively, that should be the last thing we should be worried about, because we have so many weapons, so many guys that can get it going. Defensively, we have to be engaged, be locked in possession by possession. And I think in that game 3, we weren't, consistently, locked in on a defensive effort, and it showed. So tonight was a lot better, and obviously offensively, we're wrecking when we come down and ball moves and we play with pace. So defensively, our effort, and then our rebounding was great too. Kai did an unbelievable job with 11 rebounds. That's elite right there. That's winning basketball.
There's been a lot of talk, unfortunately, about unruly behavior from fans this postseason, and then tonight someone throws a water bottle at Kyrie. Just your reaction and what more can be done to protect
I mean,
players.
it's really unacceptable. Like, these fans should come in and boo or cheer or do whatever they got to do, but just throwing things and the disrespectful language and it's ridiculous at this point. I don't know. There's some got to be enforced, with the NBA as far as fans. Like, somebody has to be made an example. I don't think just banning fans, from the arena is good enough, because continuous. You see, different arenas, fans continue to do it. So, something has to be put in place.
Greg Logan, Newsday.
James, what do you think it says about Kyrie's mental toughness that he was able to come into this environment and have such a great game tonight?
Mental toughness, one of the best I've ever seen. For him, all the emotions or whatever is going through his mind, which I'm sure a million things go through his mind. He goes out there, blocks everything out, and just be himself. And from a guy that probably would say he didn't play his best game in Game 3, came in and just had a killer instinct, killer mentality, and had a will to win Game 4, and it showed. Like, he was aggressive, and when Kai's aggressive like that, nobody can guard him, and that gives our team energy as well. So big time effort from him, big time effort from our team.
Brian Lewis, New York Post.
Hey, James. From 3 to 4, how could you tell that Kyrie, was more aggressive or locked in or focused? I'm not talking about once the game started. Could you tell before the game started? And if so, how? Like, how does he show that?
I mean, honestly, like, as much as we try to forget about it, like, we're all human. Like, as much, as great as Kai and Kevin and myself and our team is, like, we're human. So we have bad days, whether it's on the court or off the court. Like, that's a part of, life. But we try not to compound bad days, and that's, what didn't happen. Like, we had a bad day, or it wasn't our best day, and then we try to bounce back and be better and be great the next day, and that's all we can ask from each other. And tonight was great.
Christian Winfield, New York Daily News.
James, you had a playoff career high 18 assists tonight. I'm just wondering what you saw that opened up the passing lanes for you tonight.
Just being aggressive and not to score, but just to be a playmaker. Credit the guys. They made shots and finished the basketball well, but our pace, our energy, our movement, was very, very good. So I just saw spots on the floor where I could be aggressive, and when I saw somebody open, then get them the ball. But we made shots, and I just try to communicate, especially with guys like Bruce, where to be on the court to get him going a little bit. So he put like that. I don't know how many assists we had as a team, but if you put like that, 29 assists, like, the ball's moving. Guys are getting open shots.
Last question, Alex Schiffer, The Athletic.
Hey, James, I got 2 quick ones for you. Just to clarify, did you see the fan throw the water bottle at Kyrie, or you didn't see it?
No, I didn't see it.
And then Nick's performance was short but sweet. 4 blocks in about 8 minutes. Just what did you see with him out there when, especially in that second quarter?
That's what he does. He's active. He's he protects our rim. He rebounds the ball. Offensively, he sets screens and he finishes around the basket. So he did exactly his job. Only playing 8 minutes, but he's always ready. And that goes for everybody on this roster. Like, I try to get guys to know that, each possession could change. Your name could be called. So make sure you're engaged into the game and make sure you're ready to go, because at any moment, coach can sub you in, and you got to know what we're doing on both ends of the ball. So great job for Nick. Even though it's only 8 minutes, I'm sure you wanted to play more, but overall goal is to win. And tonight was, big for us. So huge game for us, game 5. We got to be ready to go.
Thanks, James. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks, James.
Thanks, James.
Thanks, James.
Kyrie's joining us next. You have a question for Kyrie, raise your hand. Thanks.
That's right. Kyrie Irving is about to sit down as well. He had 39 points and 11 rebounds, but I'm sure he'll address the fan incident as well.
We're ready with Kyrie.
All right, we will start with Christian Winfield, New York Daily News.
Hey, Kyrie. Obviously, there's been a lot of conversation about fan interaction with players, and then there was an instance tonight. I'm just wondering what you think can be done to prevent these interactions from happening in the future.
It's unfortunate, that sports has come to a lot of this, kind of crossroads where you're seeing a lot of old ways come up. It's been part of that. It's been that way in history in terms of entertainment and performers in sports for a long period of time, of just underlying racism and just treating people like they're in a human zoo, throwing stuff at people, saying things, there's a certain point where it just gets to be too much. So, I called it out. I just wanted to keep it strictly basketball. And then you just see that people just feel very entitled out here. They pay for the tickets. Great. I'm grateful that they're coming in to watch a great performance, but it's just, we're not at the theater. We're not throwing tomatoes and other random stuff at the people that are performing. It's too much. And it's a reflection on, us as a whole when you have fans acting like that. So, hopefully people learn their lessons from being banned for however many years of being arrested. But, there's always going to be an occasion. So.
Greg Logan, Newsday.
Kyrie, can you just describe the motivation you had coming into this game? You didn't have your best performance in game 3, but you handled everything tonight and kind of gave it back to the fans. So what was the feeling of satisfaction like for you?
Oh, well, the job isn't finished. So it's just momentarily. It's momentarily. So it's momentary. So.
Brian Lewis, New York Post. You're muted, Brian.
My apologies. I was asking what the difference was for you, Kyrie, from 3 to 4. I mean, did you notice different ways that they were defending you? Did you do something to get yourself in a different mental headspace? What did you do from 3 to 4 that allowed you to come out and have a night like you had tonight?
Same things I've been doing since I was a kid. I've been part of a lot of hostile environments since I was a kid. It's not the first time, in my life where I've had to bounce back from one of those type of performances that isn't typical of me in terms of the big stage. And I can't do it alone. So, in between, last day or so, just spending some time with my teammates, spending time with myself, just having some conversations to keep me balanced and grounded, and then go out there and have fun and play basketball at a high level. I'm grateful to be able to put on the uniform and just go perform with some guys that are very selfless and just wanted to see some good basketball out there, and we do the little things to help each other win.
Malika Andrews, ESPN.
Kyrie, could you just walk us through what happened? I mean, did the fan yell at you? Did the bottle hit you? What happened?
It doesn't matter, honestly, Malika. It's just these actions, like I said, are historically relative. When you think about just where we've come as a sport, it used to happen back in the day. A lot of older players went through it, and any great person, great entertainer, performer, understands that when you're achieving something bigger than yourself, you're going to have a lot of adversity, animosity, and you just got to figure out a way to deal with it. So tonight, I think we collectively dealt with it. Anything could have happened with that water bottle being thrown at me, but, my brothers were surrounded around me. I had people in the crowd. So just trying to get home to my wife and my kids.
You mentioned, treating you as human, which should be a basic right. I'm just wondering what you would want folks who feel entitled to do that to know about how that makes you feel.
Well, we keep saying things like we're human, but we don't get treated like we have rights when we're out there at times, and people feel entitled to go and do things like that. We claim that we care about each other as human beings, but we just call things out before they happen, like I did the other day. And like I'm telling people, just keep it basketball. And then you have things that happen at the Garden. You got things happening in Utah, and there's a lot of history there of things happening. So just do your research. I would say to everybody, and hopefully the respect of the game is kept at a high level moving forward. That's what I hope.
Ian O'Connor, New York Post.
Yeah, Kyrie, I was just wondering, before that water bottle was unfortunately thrown at you, what did you feel in the crowd these two nights? Did you feel that racism or subtle racism that you had warned about, or had they pretty much kept it strictly about basketball until that incident as you were walking off?
Well, like I said, I've been in some hostile environments where a lot of things have been said to me, a lot of things have been done to my teammates, or I've experienced some type of subtle racism that I'm referring to, where it's just underlying throughout the game. The things that they're saying is not necessarily about talent or gifts. It's just more or less about moms or what you look like, or they're calling you out of your name. And like I said, I joined this sport because I loved it. And inevitably, you're going to have opposing fans do things that are going to help their team win. They love being involved. I don't want to take away that nature. It's just when you feel disrespected as a person, man or woman, and someone calls you out your name or does something like that, it doesn't make you feel good. And then when you react, and we had times in history where people have reacted and gone in the crowd, then we're wrong. And we need to be civilized, and we need to keep our calm, and we need to keep our cool, and then it's reflected on us. So, like I said, just want to keep it upfront and truthful. And it's just, unacceptable for that stuff to be happening. But we move on. So,
Alex Schiffer, The Athletic.
Harry, kind of piggybacking off Malika's question, James just said before you joined us that he doesn't think that banning fans does anything with this stuff because it continues to happen, and he'd like to see the process change with all this. I'm curious if you have a thought on that.
Yeah, I think each one of us have our own individual experiences, but as a black man playing in the NBA, dealing with a lot of this stuff is fairly difficult, because you never know when it can happen or what's going to happen at the end of the game or before the game. So banning fans, I get the objective, but at the same time, it doesn't stop people from running on the court. I've had situations in Cleveland where people have run on the court. I've had situations so often throughout my career where, we don't really talk about it because we want to be mentally tough. We want to be tough-minded. We don't want to be called soft or we're not man enough to deal with boos. And, fans never block my shot. So I'm not worried about that type of physical, type of violence. It's just, when they start doing things that are just out of character, just getting belligerently drunk. And, that's just what sports is. You mix drunk people out in the crowd that are cheering for their team. You have some fans that are there to watch the quality of the game. And then you have a mix of in between. And then you got this intermixing. And then now we don't know who's who. But like I said, I just want to move on from this, man. I've dealt with it as a player here as a Celtic of different things. And now being an opponent again, I just want to move on. So.
Thanks, Kyrie. Appreciate it.
Thank
you. Thanks, Kyrie.
Thanks, everyone.
Playoff Central Live continues with coach and player press conferences, including Jason Tatum after the break.